I'd like you to imagine an 8-year-old girl. An 8-year-old girl going through very difficult, troubled family circumstances. She lives with her younger brother and takes care of him because their mother is mentally ill. They live together in a broken-down, one-bedroom flat above a shop. Every month, the mother takes the girl to a nearby convent. And while the mother does whatever she does, the little girl has afternoon tea with Sister Hilda. And they share stories. One day, Sister Hilda presents the little girl with a book. And the book is called The Little Hero. It's a very special book because the nun has written it herself. The girl opens up the book because she loves reading. But instead of a book about dragons and knights, the story is about her. It's about a little girl that gives love and light to everyone she meets. The nun tells her this is her gift from God, that throughout her life, it will give her strength. The girl's 8. She doesn't understand, but as she grows up, she does. And she has found it's true. I was that little girl. And now I'm a 46-year-old single mum. But what I'd like to share with you today, that if it is possible, if you can, smile in the face of adversity and challenge, you can begin your journey as a little hero. You can find your metamorphosis. So, I've spent the last 20 years of my life trying to empower young people through theatre and storytelling. I've worked with children all around the world. I've worked with privileged kids, underprivileged kids, refugee kids, special needs kids. And all this work has been about giving them inner confidence. I'm very proud to say that this month I was made finalist for UK Mentor of the Year, which I'm very proud about. And if thank you. But if I could umbrella all my work under one title, I'd be very honoured to be called Little Hero Maker, Dragon Tamer. Of course, you may say that heroes and dragons are the material of literature, Greek mythology. Achilles, Heracles, the great Odysseus, big, sweaty, six-packed, hairy men scaling the walls of Troy. But I'd like to look at the simple hero that I believe is in each and every one of us. So, I'm going to tell you another story. When I was 35, my brother and I decided to go back to our town house, where I'd spent the first 8 years of my life. We had sad memories of that time. It was a very difficult time. And the house was dilapidated then. So when we went back, we were faced with an estate agent's. It was all glossy and refurbished. So we went in and asked the lady if we could go and visit our flat where we'd lived. She took us up, and there was nothing to see. It was an office, files, polished floor. And then we said, could we go up to the attic? Her face changed, and she looked rather puzzled and said in a voice out of a horror movie, "Oh, no one could live up there." We went up the twisted staircase, through the trap door, into the dusty gloom. I went straight to the window and put my hands against the glass. We'd spent a lot of time in that attic. And then I felt the woman's eyes looking at me, and I turned around, and I was absolutely astounded. On the walls of that attic, after 28 years, my writing was in felt tip pen, chalk, pencil, words mapping the outside world in that attic. Supermarket, park, playground, hospital, shops. It was quite incredible. And of course, I cried a little. But what I want to say is that those words, they didn't symbolize despair to me. I felt they were quite incredible because as this little kid of 8, 7, I managed to reinvent the world through storytelling for my little brother. We were going through so many difficult times, and those words were a game that protected us from the dragon, that insecurity of trying to understand a mentally ill parent. So then I had an epiphany. I suddenly thought, I was 35, and I suddenly thought, what if I could use my work to help other young people that maybe were not in my situation, but people who would face dragons in their life, and if I could give them some strategies to help with that. I mean, I'd already been working in theatre for 10 years, but it was at that moment I thought, I have a key. And my quest began. Now, why is it so important? There is one fact that unites all of us here today. We are the central character of our story. Our story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if you could wake up each morning and go, yeah, I love my life. It's brilliant. I mean, do you love your life? Do you? Well, that's great. But some of us can live with a lifetime of regret. Or we can see ourselves as anti-hero, villain, or victim. Sometimes we can spend our life running away from dragons we've tried to lock in the closet, but somehow they've escaped and they're running down the road after us. So we need skills. We need skills to be able to look those dragons in the eye and domesticate them. So what skills am I talking about? I try, through my work, to teach children to think outside the box, to problem solve, to be able to be independent thinkers through emotional intelligence. So I'd like you to imagine the peace symbol, CND, a big circle divided into 3 sections. Each section is integrated and part of the whole. And I divide this into improvisation, responsibility, and empathy. To define those in very simple terms, improvisation is the spontaneous reaction and action to a problem. Responsibility is putting your hand out to help others. And empathy is the ability to stand in someone else's shoes and see the world from their point of view. I want to give an example of an amazing hero for me. It's quite incredible. She's a 16-year-old girl living in Sweden. And she's put her hand up to global warming. She's just a kid in school. She's improvised because she spontaneously reacted and said, I need to take action, even if it's just me. She's taken responsibility because she's put her hand up, she's put her hand out and said, who's with me? And she's shown incredible empathy because she's not only thinking of us now, she's imagining our grandchildren, their children, and the kind of world they're going to live in. So empathy. Empathy is a wonderful thing, because whatever problems we're going through, we're able to understand that other people have lives too, and they are also going through their crisis. We never know when the dragons are going to show up. When I was 40, and that's a time in your life where you think you've got it sussed. You may be married, you've got your house, your career, everything's okay. When I was 40, I lost everything. In a very short period of time, I didn't have a relationship, I didn't have a job, and I had to look for somewhere to rent with my daughter. At that time in my life, I'll be honest and put my hands up here, I forgot all the stuff about hero making and dragon taming, and I started to go into a pit of self-despair. But there was a little voice inside me that said, come on, you're a survivor, come on. So I took that model of improvisation, responsibility, empathy. I grabbed my laptop and I wrote a play. I wrote a play about a homeless woman living in a cardboard box on Christmas Eve. And I wrote this play for young people. I improvised because I had no director, no actors, no budget for a set. I put the whole thing together, directed it, played in it, and got some rubbish to make the set. And I played that show. And it taught me a huge lesson. I showed responsibility because I made a story that could reach out to educate young people about others who are in a worse situation. I showed empathy because through standing in a homeless woman's shoes, I understood what I had. I had a roof. I had the means to make money, and I had my beautiful daughter. So it's all about trying to find perspective, a healthy perspective on life. We can not teach these things on a computer. We cannot Google them. They are what make us human, what make us humane. So we must try not to focus on the shortcomings, what he has, what she has, what I don't have. So many people in your life will try to write your story for you. Your boss, your mum, your dad, your husband, your wife. But I insist it's your story. You are the central character, and you must take responsibility. We have a choice. We can be the victim of past suffering, or we can take that baggage and use it to empower others. It's easy to use the past as a crutch, to define who we are now, but that is not who you are now. You can always change. It takes a huge amount of bravery to be a hero. It takes a huge amount of energy. But the results of that will be an integral part of your being and your soul. So I would like to say a huge, huge thank you to that elderly nun, Sister Hilda. She taught me a very simple, beautiful truth. Our smile is the most pure act of positive energy. And it starts your journey as a little hero. Being a hero is about improvising, overcoming, confronting. Being a hero is about taking responsibility and putting your hand out to help other people. Being a hero is about empathizing, being able to stand in the shoes of someone else. Someone else started your story, but you can become a hero and make the middle of it and the end of it and make it your story. So keep smiling, stay happy, and thank you very much.